I now call to order this March 6th Friendswood City Council regular meeting and announce that we have a quorum. Tonight's invocation will be led by Senior Pastor Jim Bass with Friendswood Methodist Church, my good friend Jim. And if you wouldn't mind standing for that and remain standing, we're going to say some pledges.
Let us pray. Oh Lord, we give you thanks for this community, the blessings which we experience here. Lord, we ask and we give you thanks this day for all that we have here. And Lord, we ask especially a thanksgiving and prayers for our students this day as they experience counsel for the day, that they might continue to grow and learn, and someday take over those responsibilities and lead our community. We thank you for that. We ask your wisdom and guidance to be upon our city council this day, that all that they do may be for the common good. And also we remember all of our police officers, firefighters, and first responders, that you will keep them safe as they protect and serve us in our community. For all this we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thanks again, Jim. Appreciate you coming. Hey, y'all don't even have to sit down because we'll just press on into item 4A. Consider a proclamation declaring March 10th, 2023 as Wedgwood Elementary School Day in the city of Friendswood, Texas. So I'm going to introduce these students, and when I say your name, come up here and take your position, and we'll get this show on the road. Let me just preface this though by saying, hey, we've been doing this 5 years now, and we do it because we want to get these students into city council, into the chambers, so that they can kind of experience a little bit of what our local government does, how we operate. We discussed earlier with the kids, because the question came up, how much I got paid, and you found out that we're all volunteers up here. So another thing is, you know, we're educating them on how we work and how we don't take any pay. We do this because we want to give back to the city in which we live and want to make it even better than it already is. So, and then we want to continue with the CCISD character building program, you know, that Buffy Johnson and her teachers all instill in their kids over there, you know, and teamwork and working together. And so we're glad to have you. This is one of the most popular council meetings of the year. So thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to introduce these folks. First, we have Crosby Peterman, our city secretary. Come on up, Crosby. Reluctant city secretary. Yeah, it is, I know. Crosby's teacher is Carly Anderson. Carly, thanks for being here. Yay. Cadence Jordan is going to fill the role of Mayor Pro Tem Aaron Wirt. Her teacher is also Carly Anderson. Next, Paisley Buford. Going to take Councilmember Scott's position. Paisley, yeah. Her teacher is Leslie Chavez. Leslie, hey. Next, Councilmember position 4, Sarah Sandoval, taking Councilmember Graffon's spot. Sarah's teacher is Alexis Nettles. Hey, Alexis. Next, the easiest job, Scarlett Garcia is going to be the mayor. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And her teacher is Kathleen Tavera. Where's Kathleen? Not here? There you go, Scarlett. Don't mess up anything. It's just the way I like it. All right, next, DeKyler Frank is not going to make it. DeKyler would have been taking Councilmember Hank's position here. And I think we've already figured out how to solve that problem, right? Somebody's gonna take over that part of the script, and we're all got it all figured out. DeKyler's teacher is also Alexis Nettle. So, what happened? That's sick. I get it. Yeah. Next, Jude Pratt. Says Jude is also not in attendance. Jude would be taking Councilmember Branson's spot, and also in Kathleen Tavera's class. Carson Stephen going to take Councilmember Rocky's spot. And Carson, your dad serves on our library board, doesn't he? What a great guy. See, volunteers all over the place in this city. And Carson's teacher is Avery Long. Avery, there. Next, filling the role of city attorney, Andrea Gaskar. You're Mrs. Horner for tonight. Well, taking her position. Probably the hardest job up here, city attorney. Also in Avery Long's class, so. Last but not least, Michael Emig is going to be our city manager, taking Murad Kabiri's place, and also in Leslie Chavez's class. All right. Mayor, I'm going to turn it over to you. Okay, we're going to do a picture. Thanks, Katie. So I guess, Michael, you're going to kick this off. All these microphones turned on, we can hear you all. Go ahead, sir.
Mayor and Council, tonight you have before you a proposed proclamation declaring March 10th, 2023 Wedgwood Elementary Day in Friendswood, Texas. As you know, Wedgwood Elementary is part of the Clear Creek Independent School District. It is an exemplary campus and source of pride for our community.
Has our city attorney approved the wording of our proposed proclamation?
I have drafted the wording of the proposed proclamation, and it is in line with the vision statement of the City of Friendswood.
Will our city secretary please read the city's vision statement for the record? I will now read the proposed proclamation. A proposed proclamation of the City of Friendswood, Texas, declaring March 10th, 2023 as Wedgwood Elementary Day in the City of Friendswood, Texas. It is now time to take a vote. Do I have a motion to accept the proposed proclamation?
I move to accept the proposed proclamation as presented.
I second that motion. Any discussions?
At Wedgwood Elementary, we pledge to be kids with character, and we pledge to be bucket fillers.
At Wedgwood Elementary, we will be honest, reliable, and worthy of trust.
We will be responsible and fair, doing what we must.
At Wedgwood Elementary, with our words and actions, we show that we care. We will be good citizens and do our share. At Wedgwood Elementary, we will respect ourselves and others too.
We will expect the best in all we do.
Would the city secretary please read the motion on the table?
We have a motion by Council Member Carson Stephen and a second from Council Member Jude Pratt to accept a proposed proclamation of City of Friendswood, Texas, declaring March 10th, 2023 as Wedgwood Elementary Day in the City of Friendswood, Texas.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations, Woodard Elementary School. This Council for a Day meeting is now adjourned.
You all did a fantastic job. If any parents, grandparents want to come up and take a picture while these kids are sitting at the dais, you're welcome to do that. As soon as we're done with that, we'll move out into the reception area. And I wanted to mention that just as I was starting, I got a text from Karen Engel, CCISD superintendent, telling me that she must have been hanging around the kids over there because she took her first sick day of the year today, and she was going to be here, so she apologized for missing this. But that's the kind of involvement that we love, you know, to see so many people here, to see the principal, all the teachers, and even the superintendent planning to attend this event tonight. So thank you all. You did a fantastic job. Now we need to ingest some sugar. Pump us up. There you go. All right, we'll get started here again. Can you hear me, Katie? Okay. Item 5, council comments and reports. Councilmember Rocky.
I just want to say I got the pleasure of touring the new police station and seeing all the work, which is about 95% done. And the building is fabulous. It's going to add a lot of needed space and a lot of needed areas, and we're going to have really a top-notch building when it's done.
Thank you. Trish?
Well, I got to go on the same tour that Councilman Rocky was on, and I also was very impressed. And tonight on the agenda is the proposal of a new PNC member, Marcia Conrad. And I feel very confident about how it will turn out. And so I thank you, Marcia, for accepting. And I know she'll make a great addition to the board. And our KFB met, and they are just on fire. They are doing so many things. And if you've seen the pollinator garden lately, you'll see all the beautiful flowers that are starting to bloom and all the plants. So thank you, KFB.
A lot of people out there lately. Oh, go ahead.
Samantha will be up talking about drainage, so I'm just going to let her take the lead.
Councilmember Scott, Councilmember Aaronworth, back to you, Councilmember Branson.
Thank you. Last month, the mayor asked me a little bit about HGAC, and I just wanted to, they put together a really nice clip. This is an annual clip that we do. We have an annual meeting, and I thought we'd take just a minute or two to watch this. It's not very long, but I do just want to say a little bit about HGAC before you see this. Membership, and there was actually an article in the Chronicle today about this. Membership on HGAC, the board, is in community with 25,000 members or more, or population or more, has one member on the board, with the exception of Houston and Harris County, who each have 2 members. So it's based on your population, and the whole point of HGAC was to give everybody a voice, so that, you know, we're all outside of that big, huge town called Houston, and sometimes we kind of get lost. So the purpose of HGAC was to establish a forum such that communities of 25,000 or more at least had a voice. So without further ado, I'll let y'all watch this video. Thank you for teeing it up.
From Chambers to Colorado, Matagorda to Walker, the Houston-Galveston Area Council is making a difference in the daily lives of residents in its 13-county region. Whether it's helping to create jobs and support small businesses, ensuring public safety, assisting senior citizens, or helping to improve our region's infrastructure, HGAC is creating change.
The Port of Houston was planned to grow at about 5% a year. Well, for the last 2 years, they've grown at 20+%. Chambers County does not have the road infrastructure in to take care of the growth that we're seeing. 1 out of every 3 containers that come out of Port Houston come to West Chambers County. And that number is growing very, very rapidly. If we get bottlenecked down in Chambers County, we're going to bottleneck Port of Houston. If we can't get the goods in and out, we're going to see some of the same problems that they got on the West Coast. The Houston-Galveston Area Council has been very helpful, and we've had regional meetings with the Port of Houston, with TxDOT, the City of Baytown, and a lot of our industrial partners looking at what we can do. We've got to have everybody rowing in the same direction, and HGAC is the body that can pull that together.
Matagorda County continues to grow in a sustainable way. Our job is to provide diverse opportunities, and we do that by working with our friends at the Houston-Galveston Area Council through their workforce solutions to provide expertise in building human resources. Many times when you bring a large company in, you have to make the promise that you can deliver on their workforce. The Tenaris Seamless Pipe Mill here in Bay City, Texas has provided 600 jobs. They're now at 750, approaching 800 direct employees. So what that means for all of us is that we were finally able to go in and attract the housing inventory that we've needed, good state-of-the-art market rate houses at every level. To see the success in our county has been something that I've known we needed for a long time. The successful things that HGAC has done with Matagorda County, the one that comes to mind very quickly is the one we're standing in. It's called the Fat Grass. This wouldn't have happened but for HGAC's revolving loan fund that helped Mr. Watkins get into business.
The Small Business Development Center here in Bay City referred me to the Houston-Galveston Area Council. The funding that we received went to help building the actual property itself, and then also buying some fixtures and things that we needed to start inside. The reason that I'm a chef is that I love putting smiles on people's faces. That's really it. I love every aspect of being in the kitchen. I love the prep. I love the sauteing. I love everything about it. And there was no way I could have done it without the help of the Houston-Galveston Area Council, the Small Business Development Center here, and the people of the town that believed in me.
Every year, HGAC reaches out through a survey to all law enforcement agencies and the academies to determine what kind of training that they're looking at doing in the future. In the last couple of decades, threats from active shooters, people with knives and other sorts of weapons, has gone up dramatically. Klein ISD is one of the 5 partners that HGAC has a relationship with. We provide them the equipment and certain other support services to train not only their officers, but any other agency that wants to be trained.
Klein ISD Police Department was the first fully established ISD police department in the state of Texas. Our school board years ago had the vision and foresight to make the investments in innovative school safety measures to ensure that officers receive alert training.
ALERT stands for Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training. We needed a way to keep our kids safe and have our officers be able to respond to any kind of active shooter that may come into our schools. HGAC has helped us in gathering the equipment to go out and train, and I think without them, we might not have been able to become better at what we do.
Alert training is an extremely important resource for the law enforcement community, and HGAC's work in that is critical to our constituents in the 13 counties and make life for all of us that much better.
Mamie George Community Center is a center of Catholic Charities, and it's one of many sites that the Houston-Galveston Area Council partners with. We're able to provide funding so that people can exercise, socialize. They also get a nutritious meal while they're here. Working for older adults, individuals with disability, and their caregivers has always been a really big part of my heart. I think a lot of people forget about our senior population, but they have such a wealth of experience, knowledge. It's an honor working with them. What really makes me proud in our day-to-day work comes in small moments. Being able to provide short-term respite for a family caregiver who's really overwhelmed. When people call and ask for a particular staff person because their friend told them to call, that word of mouth really does speak volumes. I just attended an exercise class, and the gentleman right next to me had 2 weights. And he's like, well, I attended 6 of these classes. implying that he couldn't do it before. A lot of times it's those small moments.
With HGAC, small moments like these make a big difference today and tomorrow.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you watching.
Thanks for bringing that, Sally. And Liz, you don't know, we as a city over 25,000 have a seat at the table. We're on the board of directors for HGAC. Sally is our representative from City Council from the city of Friendswood. And just so you know, she's done such a magnificent job in the 5 years or so she's been representing us that she just came off, she was just the chairman of the board there for the last year. So great work, Sally.
Thank you, Mayor.
Representing us there.
Appreciate it.
Moving forward, item 6, public comment. In order to comply with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act, the City Council may not deliberate any item not listed on the agenda. As such, City Council will listen to public comment and may 1, refer the item to City Management for further action, or 2, direct staff for the placement of said item on a future agenda. During public comment, public shall comply with rules of decorum. The rules allow each person 3 minutes to present information. The time clock will flash a yellow light when there are 30 seconds remaining in the allotted time and flash a red light and a beeping sound when the time has elapsed. If you have any questions, please direct them to me. John Adam Hill.
John Adam Hill, 917 Sunset Drive. I'm here in tradition to announce that I'm running for City Council Position 5. I'm a lifelong resident of Friendswood. I've raised my family here. I've built hundreds and hundreds of homes. I've built office buildings. I have tenants. I have homeowners. But in my 25 years of building here, I've been able to see all different forms of family, whether they come here to raise their kids, whether they come back to be close to downsize, and I feel like that I have a pulse on the community. I see it every day, whether they be a tenant of mine, and they want good schools, they want safety, and they want efficient government, as we all do. And I've been wanting to do this a long time. I turned 50 on Friday, and it's my time to give back. I know all of you personally. I want to work with you, and I want to help Friendswood. It's pretty exciting to do this, and hope you'll get a vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Roseanne Scott.
Can I get something passed out before I get started?
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
just want to hand that to me. Okay. I'll start your time and I'll hand them out.
Good evening. My name is Roseanne Scott, and I'm at 201 Hunters Lane. We are here this evening to bring forth a safety concern that we have with the street parking on Hunters Lane outside of Chara Dance Studio. Each evening from 5 to 9 and Saturdays 9 to 3, these parked cars cause a safety hazard which impede a safe exit out of Hunters Creek Estates onto our already highly congested FM 518. Prior to attending this meeting, we have called City Hall, spoken to Friendswood Planning Department, have had conversations and emails with Chara owner, and asked our HOA board members to write a letter on behalf of the residents. Other residents have spoken with the owner about safety concerns of the street parking over the last 2 years. The owner does not want to be the parking police and sends out parking etiquette suggestions to our customers. Please note that one of the letters states, while parking is permissible, it is obvious that with this statement, that without city's help, the street parking will continue. As Trish Hanks stated in January, this is the most dangerous intersection in all of Friendswood. Abolishing street parking removes one variable to this very dangerous 518 intersection. It is a convenience for Chara customers to park on the street, but it's not a necessity. Chara customers have 3 places to park: in their parking lot, Prince Properties after 5:30 p.m., and any time in the church parking lot next door. Convenience for a few should not supersede safety for all. There is a simple and inexpensive solution. We ask for no parking anytime signs to be placed in this area all the way to the gates to ensure more safety in and around this congested and possible fatal intersection. We would also like to state that Hunters Creek residents pay for all of the landscaping, water, electricity, Christmas decorations, water retention on this section of Hunters Lane before entering our subdivision. We also have added expenses to us when Chara customers drove onto the curb crushing the water sprinklers and they had to be replaced. And we also paid for the oversized rocks that are placed in this area so the customers will not continue to cause further damage. Because of this, it appears to us that we should have a voice in this parking situation. Residents don't have to worry about hitting little dancers. We shouldn't have to worry about hitting little dancers as they jet out onto the unlit street when the parent is busy putting a baby into their car seat. A street is not a safe place for loading and unloading little people or big people. The other potential scenario is an ambulance or a resident needing to get out of the subdivision as they have critically injured person in their vehicle. As they get towards the exit where Chara Dance Studio is, 10 cars are parked along the side of the street and cars are exiting. And now Chara is blocking the second lane traffic to exit. The emergency driver is now stuck. If you'll look at the attached picture that I have given to you, this is an example of 10 cars parked along the side. Should I finish?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jerry Grove? Corona. Sorry.
Dear council members, thank you for hearing us today. So I'm Jerry Corona. I'm a resident at Hunters Creek Estates, 217 Hunters Lane. I'm here to echo some of the safety concern, but I'm going to give you some examples. Oftentimes when, a lot of the folks are dropping off their kids at Chara Dance Studio, they'll make a U-turn on the way out around because either they didn't find a parking spot, so it makes a very hazardous situation for people turning right into our neighborhood or people coming, making a left turn in the new turnstile lane that was provided just several months back. They also can make a U-turn around the down further into our gate, and that also creates some hazards with respect to people coming out of the subdivision. I fear for my young teenagers. I'm sure some of you have teenagers and they just got permits or got driver's license, right? I don't want to have to be the parent of a young teenager that may possibly get into a collision with some of the folks coming in and out of those cars. These teenagers obviously don't pay as much attention as the older adults. So, you got a lot of kids in the neighborhood that are starting to drive. We want to make sure that we have a safe venue for the kids to come in and out of the neighborhood without having to worry about hitting a car or hitting pedestrians and so on and so forth. The other thing is we don't have any pedestrian lanes, right? So everything is free for all. You can cross, jaywalk, do whatever you want. If you park your car across the street in, Massachusetts parking lot. So the situation is not very, very conducive for safety. So I ask you guys to consider adding no parking zone, and that you take this serious. Think about the parents that have teenagers and also the elderly who also drive and who also may have more difficulty, taking the proper actions to avoid an incident. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Corona. Don Scott.
Good evening. I'd like to state that subdivision probably have more than 150 cars that come in and out of there every day in the afternoons. So now you have a situation where you have cars parked on the street. You have parents letting their kids out, standing young boy or girl, whatever, and then they're trying to get somebody out of the baby seat. And so they've lost where the other child is, because it's happened to me where I come out very slowly because I know what's about to happen. And we'd hate to have somebody get injured there. And we as citizens that live in the neighborhood, and you as city council individuals, to have that on your conscience. So I would suggest each one of you go and spend several hours, not 1 hour, several hours every day, like we do, coming in and out of that subdivision, and notice the potential hazards. I know good and well, me as well as you, would really hate if something happened to a child and we had the opportunity to do something about it and we failed to do that. Why, I don't know, but we failed to take that initiative to say, hey, listen, this is an issue, a potential problem. It's going to be worse once they finish that office building across the street. More traffic. That is a terrible intersection right now at Hunters Lane and 518. I think we should take it upon ourselves to correct a potential problem, because it'd be tragic if we have the potential of doing something to correct that. A year from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, we did not take that action. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. John Penny?
Good evening. Hate to follow all of that because that was good. I'm 301 Hunters Lane. I've been in Hunters Creek for 10 years, Friendswood 30 years. Miss Conrad, grew up with her and her family, so great choice, fantastic. But I'm going to go right back. I'm not only a resident there, but I am a char dance dad. My girls do dance there, and so it is a legit safety issue. You know, the kids getting in and out of the cars is very, very dangerous. When it is dark, it is very hard to see. I have almost hit children. My father, he's not the best driver, but he has almost hit children. It is just something that I don't want on my hands or on anyone's hands going there. We've got to get no parking on that street. You know, my wife and I, we walk our daughters to class because it is the safest way to go. And we go out the back of our house through the detention pond and go through the safest way to that school. And so, you know, for me, it's just extremely important that we don't lose a child for something that is as simple as common sense. Putting no parking signs. Char does a good job. She sends out parking enforcement, you know, etiquette, be neighborly. It's not about being neighborly. It's not about etiquette. It's about the safety of our children and the safety of our residents, because we don't want little children like that to not be here because we make a stupid decision letting someone out of a car and we run them over. It's not what we want. So we just ask for your really, really deep thoughts into making this a no parking lane. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Rosalie Murphy?
Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody. I'm here because I went to the 4th of July steering committee, and they said that you people were the ones that chose the Grand Marshal for the parade. If you haven't already chosen someone, I would like to put my dad's name up. He is a World War II Merchant Marine veteran.
Okay, thanks,
He just
Nancy.
turned 99 years old. He's lived here in Friendswood since
I got
1960.
invited to show up here on Tuesday, which I did,
Am
and
I
to stay on Wednesday, and now it's Thursday, and I get to stay for tomorrow as well. Some of you may be participating in tomorrow morning's session, which has to do with administering FEMA's State Public Assistance Program, which unfortunately for this area of the country seems to be a type of grant you get all the time. And it's grants management under duress in many cases. So hopefully if you're planning to spend time with me tomorrow morning, we'll be able to shed some light on.
Yes, we can.
You want me to start over?
Start over.
Okay, I'll start with the residents then. I live at 2209 South Friendswood Drive with my husband. We've been there 20 years. And about the 4th of July steering committee, they told me that the council chose the Grand Marshal because I've already been there. So I'm here for that. My dad is 99 years old. He's a World War II Merchant Marine veteran. He spent 3.5 years on a floating bomb in the Pacific Theater. Ships around him were sunk. He came home, thank God, because I wouldn't have been here then. But he with 8 other World War II Merchant Marine veterans were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal last May in the Statuary Hall in the Capitol building. And yesterday, Randy Weber came over for his birthday party celebration and presented him with a certificate of recognition. And my dad was just overwhelmed. But I really would like for you to consider that. I've got tons of information if you want to know it. He lives at 102 Briar Creek. You know where you make the horseshoe on Briar Creek and then go out to high school? He's that guy in the corner there with the little river walk. My mom has been gone 6 years, and so he lives by himself. He has no idea I'm doing this. And I've just got my fingers crossed, if you haven't chosen someone, that you may choose him. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, let me know. I've got a book. I've got several books on it.
Thanks, Miss Murphy.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Joe Matranga.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Joe Matranga, and I am also running for John Scott's position number 5 when he steps down in May. I am a longtime Friendswood resident. I graduated from Friendswood High School, and I raised 2 daughters here that also graduated from Friendswood High School. I started my volunteering with Friendswood over 10 years ago at Friendswood Animal Control, working to help those animals become more adoptable. My wife is not allowing me to work there or volunteer there right now because the last time I did, I brought a dog home, and she said no more of that, so at least for a little while. I've worked the last 5 years as a volunteer on the Planning and Zoning Commission in Friendswood, and 4 of that as the chair. During that time, we've handled and come before us hundreds of items that we were representing the residents of Friendswood on. It has allowed me to work with all of the city council members and a great deal of the staff in the city of Friendswood, and it's very rewarding. And so good luck on your new start there, potentially, till they vote. Lastly, I've worked the last 2 years on the West Ranch Management District, representing City of Friendswood and the residents of West Ranch, and trying to be a good steward of the funds, the bond money that were issued to build the West Ranch subdivision. And over the last 2 years that I've been on there, the board and me included have been able to lower the tax rate and just the overall net payment that each of the residents, including me, pay for that infrastructure that was built. In summary, I think I'm highly qualified. I think I can step into the role of city council member and start day one, hit the ground running. I can guarantee that I have a long history of and will continue to represent all of the Friendswood residents. I'm really immune to any sort of special interest or groups that might sway me. I have a history, and it's a strong point for me that I look to represent everybody. So with that, I have the time and I have the desire to serve, and I would be grateful and proud to continue serving Friendswood on City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7.
Excuse me, Mayor. Ma'am, could I ask that the city bring to a future meeting what our options are on the Hunters Creek Street? I don't need it now.
No, I can, but I will say right off the bat, though, I've had police, fire, engineering evaluate the situation, and nothing warrants. In order to place a prohibition of any sort on a public roadway, we have to have a warrant that's justified by a study, and nothing warrants restricting parking prohibition to where we can legally tow people. So I can bring a future item if you would like, but our hands are going to be tied.
Committees or special reports. 7A, receive the Planning and Zoning Commission annual report presented by new chairman Tom Hinckley.
Hello, Council. So we have a quick PowerPoint here for you. We won't take up much of your time, maybe 30, 45 minutes. So. So the first slide, do you have the first slide I have is the, oh, okay. It's my first time, I apologize.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so Friendswood State Planning Zoning consists of course, volunteers just like all y'all. So over the last year, we've had a few departures, replacements. Dick Clark was replaced with Marcus Rives. Of course, myself, Tom Hinckley, Kathy Kerner, Travis Mann, Joe Matranga was, well, potentially replaced by Marcia Conrad. Marcus Perry was replaced by Brian Bounds and Richard Sasson, who's also in attendance today. We have the great support of Becky Bennett, Aubrey Harbin, and Karen Horner. And our council liaisons are Trish and Robert. So. Okay. Here's just a quick P&Z summary of actions. We won't go through a lot of detail on it, but it is in your backup material. Next slide. Well, picture of the commission. P&Z accomplishments in 2022. We recommended to council to amend the plan unit development criteria. Recommended to council to amend the garden home district zoning regulations. We're continuing to work on updating the comprehensive plan, specifically incorporating the 2020 census data into the plan. Conducted annual review of the permitted use table with no changes. Held an annual retreat to establish and prioritize goals for the commission. And we also worked in the sidewalk fund, eliminated the sidewalk fund, and which enabled Public Works to use that to put in some of those sidewalks that were never built. So there's been good progress with that. Just to mention the first two, sorry. What's that? I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, the first two were approved by council, of course. Okay, planning and zoning key 2023 projects. We're continuing to work with staff and city council to update the comprehensive plan as mentioned in the prior slide. Review and update the zoning ordinances, the permitted use table, setback requirements for abandoned oil wells, overhead and underground utility lines. Review and update the sign ordinance, which includes consistency with state law and develop improvement recommendations. We'll review and recommend updates to the design criteria manual parking standards. Any questions or comments?
Nice job. Yes, sir. Keep up the great work.
That's what I thought too. But
That's the first time that slide rules work.
oh, hey, it's
yeah.
a little bit of luck there.
Got a knack.
Appreciate y'all's time.
Great job.
I'm gonna miss you.
Item 7B, receive the Zoning Board of Adjustment annual report. We have the report submitted. It's attached to our agenda for council review. Not a lot of activity. Thank you, Phil Radiso, for continuing to chair. But yeah, you know, we rarely need the Zoning Board of Adjustment, which is kind of a nice thing. And I think you had 2 issues last year and resolved them both. So thank you. Appreciate your continued work there. Moving on to item 8, work session topics. 8A, receive and discuss an update regarding the drainage projects in the city of Friendswood. We have draining projects? Deputy Director of Engineering, Samantha Heritos.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I've shown this map a few times now. I'm not gonna go through every project, but it's in the packet in case you want to look back, or if you would like me to come back to this when I'm going through, just let me know. Frenchman's Creek Green Space. This is a community block development grant project that came about after Hurricane Harvey. It was a disaster recovery project. At this point, buildings 1 through 5 have been purchased. They are either in the process of being demolished or will soon be. And then from there, the HOA will need to turn over the property to the city, and that project will finally close out. So this is the first of several Hurricane Harvey recovery projects that is nearing completion.
So the HOA is involved?
Yes, the Frenchman's Creek HOA has to turn the title, I guess, of the
Who's on
property
the
over.
HOA after all the tenants move out? I mean,
Ultimately, the last owner, in conjunction with the predominant owners, the city of Friendswood and Galveston County, will represent the homeowners association.
gotcha, okay. Semantics. Got it.
These are some images from our drone over Forest Bend. The top two are recent pictures. I believe that Mayor Mike shared the video at his recent State of the City. Forest Bend, we're still waiting on the General Land Office to approve the $300,000 that'll come from the Harris County Community Services Department. We're expecting that to come through in June of 2023. But at this, as of February 8th, 35,000 cubic yards had been excavated, which is equivalent to about 11 Olympic pools. Right now, the project's at about 40% completion. Trails A, B, and C are almost complete, although we won't see any more progress on those until excavation from the rest of the area has progressed. So I think right now we're looking about a fall completion on this project. And it's also a community development block grant project from Hurricane Harvey disaster recovery. The 3 detention basins along Cowards Creek are part of an interlocal project with Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District. At this point, there's been some field work. They've gone out and done geotechnical borings, and there's a geotechnical report. The hydraulics and hydrology analysis is in progress, and we should be hearing back from that here really soon, any day. And once we get those results back, we'll have an idea of what the layout of those offline detention ponds is going to look like. And then the engineering, design, and construction will follow. The Friendswood Regional Stormwater Detention Basin, that's the official name of the formerly what we've been calling the FM 1959 basin up near FM 2351. It's the regional project between Harris County Flood Control District, Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District, the city of Friendswood, and then we have on here the state of Texas. We're crossing our fingers that we're going to get the 10 million, and if that comes through, then the interlocal that was for this project will also include the Wickham offline detention project. Of note for this project, this week they are mailing out notice of the first public meeting. It's going to be held on March 28th at 6:30 p.m. and as soon as we've received notice that it's okay, we'll put that web address. It's going to be a virtual meeting out so that everyone can be invited and attend. At this point, a lot of the environmental for this project fortunately has already been done, but the Federal Aviation Administration required because of birds potentially flying in proximity to the airport as a result of this project. They have to do some additional evaluations. I think there's some additional minimal site evaluation that they're out there looking at now. And then the hydrology and hydraulics have kicked off. They just started going on that. It's really going to be a year before the preliminary engineering, well, next summer likely, that the preliminary engineering report is finished and we have a good idea of what the size of this detention pond is going to look like. But there should be a lot of good information available at that public meeting.
To add on to Samantha's comments, there's been some concerns raised regarding the timing of this project relative to Galveston County's allocation. The funds they plan on utilizing are ARPA funds. We are working with Galveston County on expending those funds early on in the project. As you know, each jurisdiction's contribution to this effort doesn't consume the whole value of the project. So if we expend their funds first, then they can meet the deadlines that are necessary.
Yeah, we just officially received the schedule, the first stab at the schedule a couple weeks ago, and I wouldn't say that it's in a final form yet, but it's a really good, strong start. They're hoping to time a grading project potentially so that they can move construction forward and execute some of the Galveston County funds. So one of the things that we've talked about for a long time, but it's finally going to come to fruition, is our master drainage plan. We've been in discussion with Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District, and the engineering department is going to be working with Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District on an interlocal agreement to do a combined master drainage plan. And the master drainage plan is going to be a comprehensive urban and riverine flood mitigation plan. So we're hoping to take a lot of the information that we learned from the Lower Clear Creek study, but also tie in some of the urban areas close to the creek and see how the combined street flooding in the older neighborhoods combines with the riverine flooding. And we hope to identify projects and prioritize those projects so that we have a solid plan forward going forward. And of note, Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District, I think some of their easement dimensions are not necessarily based on most up-to-date information. So we're going to take a look at that along the Clear Creek and its tributaries. So early summer, we're hoping to have the interlocal agreement executed, and then mid to late summer, we'll be putting out a request for qualification for a regional master drainage plan. So the city of Friendswood, we recently worked on putting an application together for a flood mitigation assistance grant. This is through FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association. So while it's kind of like we've got our hands in different pockets right now, but while we're waiting for the $10 million to come through on the interlocal agreement with the Friendswood Regional Detention Project and the Wickham Project, at the same time that is going on, we have been working on getting the Wickham Project and you can see you can see in there the light green line and then the black line along the creek are inline terracing, and then there's a like a green square above that and a white kind of square circle. Those are offline detention ponds that would mitigate that inline terracing. We've talked about it a little bit, but they're the inline, offline Wickham and Blackhawk projects. So at this point, we have been successful in getting those projects into the state flood plan as what they're calling an FMU, which is a flood management evaluation. And we were recently notified that there is additional funding from the state that is that I guess they went and they prioritized all these FMEs that they had, and our project is one of, I think, about 20 that they're spending some extra funding and time, and they're trying to get that into what they're calling an FMP, a flood management project. And based on some of the preliminary things we looked at, there's a strong chance that it'll make it as an FMP in the final state flood plan. And if that happens, we would be potentially eligible for funding from the state. So we have that going on, and we have the interlocal agreement going on for the regional Friendswood project and the Wickham project. And then at the same time, we also put in this grant application for a scoping project for the Wickham and Blackhawk detention projects. And the FMA scoping grant, it's a 90% federal share, 10% local share. The estimated total cost is $175,840. So the city of Friendswood will be, if we are awarded this scoping grant, we would be responsible for about $17,500. But it would also further develop this project and show us what the cost benefit analysis is. And then at that point, once we have the benefit cost assessment performed, we could potentially pursue additional flood mitigation grants for a full project.
So as council is aware, our flood mitigation efforts are far beyond the projects that we've tackled to date, nor the ones that we've entered into interlocal agreements on. This is an effort to sort of hedge our bets. For whatever reason, if the interlocal agreement doesn't come through with the state of Texas funding towards the 1959, now the Friendswood Regional Detention Basin, or the Whitcomb property, we have another opportunity through the FMA grants to pursue possible projects at the Whitcomb as well as the Blackhawk. Staff, engineering staff in particular, are working hard to try to identify all of our options, knowing that each individual one may or may not come through because it involves multiple partners and funding sources that are not guaranteed.
Can you get both?
We can get both potentially, but it just depends on the timing of when the deadlines are required. Samantha alluded to it here. The benefit cost analysis is beyond a simple calculation that identifies individual homes and says these will benefits and this is what our costs are going to be. It's far more complex, and so it's a matter of timing and sequencing to make these work.
I wanted to comment on the $10 million from the state. Our local representative Greg Bonin is the head of the House Budget Committee, and they've put out it's House Bill 1, and the line item for Lower Clear Creek is in there. I look it up every single week to see what because it goes through a set of steps. So it has now gone to the committee, and so it's still intact. The line item is there. The bill is 175 pages, and you have to read through it to find it. And I did read through it and found it, and I'm certainly not a better man for that, but nonetheless, I did find it. And so I'm watching it every week carefully. So
I think it was you, Councilmember Rocky, who talked to Greg Bonin about finding some money in the budget for us for these projects, right?
Yeah, we were at a party together, and we were sitting around the fire.
Okay, you don't have to give us all.
Yeah, and I harangued him about it, and he said there was a
Well, thank you for continuing to watch out for us. Thank you, Samantha. Great job. And you mentioned Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District a few times, and I see Commissioner Jim Gibson and the President of the Commission, Kevin Holland, sitting back here. Thank you both for all the work that you guys do in conjunction. We couldn't do it without partnering with you all.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, moving on. Item 9, City Manager's Report. City Manager Murad Kabiri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening I have nothing but good news to report, so I always like that. We have 4 items in which Friendswood was recognized, the first being our Administrative Services Office, led by General Katina Hampton, has secured our 34th, and let that sink into you, 34 years in a row, they've secured the Government Finance Officers Association Award in Excellence in Financial Reporting. So this is our comprehensive annual financial report, which is now, I guess, our annual comprehensive financial report. And their work has far exceeded the standards of both GFOA for the U.S. and Canada. And so we applaud them for their efforts and ask them to continue the great work.
How many administrative services directors does that go back?
So that goes back at least 3 between Roger, sorry, not Robert. Don't tell Roger when you see him, I mispronounced his name. Roger Recker, Cindy Edge, and now Katina Hampton. So it's an illustrious crew of financial officers, so thank you.
You've been blessed.
Also, a multi-year achievement. Matt Riley and his folks over at the library have achieved the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association Award in Excellence for our library here in Friendswood. This is the 9th year in a row, so almost a decade. Next year we'll celebrate the decade, Matt. There's only 73 out of the 542 public libraries in the state of Texas that receive this recognition, so top 15%. Well done, Matt, to you and your team. You know, our chief and our folks in PD can't go a month without being recognized, so we have to recognize them this evening, and rightfully so. The Greater Harris County 911 recently published their annual statistics for dispatching services for 911 calls. The state has a standard time frame of 90% of your calls have to be answered within 15 seconds. The city of Friendswood was recognized for answering 99.6% of our calls within 15 seconds. So I'm sure the ones that we didn't were me calling just to check to see if they were there. But no, well done, Bob, to you and your team. And last but not least, our folks in Keep Friendswood Beautiful, our volunteers and staff that spend countless hours in our community keeping our parks and various landscape improvements throughout the community beautiful and always looking nice, was recognized by their parent organization, Keep Texas Beautiful, as a gold star affiliate. Only 70 out of 300 Keep Texas Beautiful affiliates received this designation. So to KFB, thank you, and James, to you and your team for helping. And that's it.
Mayor, can I say something?
Please do.
You know, we are so used to hearing about such excellence among our staff that, 34 years in finance and 9 years for the library. And I hope it doesn't diminish, because we're so used to it, the great work and the high accomplishment. They're really in an elite class, and that shows a lot of work on their part, and I would congratulate the whole city staff for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Moving on, business items. Item 10A, consider approving the Friendswood Library Long Range Strategic Plan. Do I have a motion? Steve Rocky. Trish Hanks made the second. Before we vote, Matt Riley, I heard you have a condensed set of slides.
Yeah, yes,
Give
sir.
us the
yes, sir.
John
The
Scott
27
approved,
slide, yeah.
3-slide show.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
this is 3 slides.
Appreciate it. I
promise you.
did go
Yeah, I'll
through
try
your
to-
entire, in the
Yeah.
backup, the
Yeah.
27 or 72, whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Slides. That was all good
27.
information, but
Yes, sir. I will. I'll get through it fairly quickly. Let's see. I am new to this as well. Here we go. Okay. So over the past couple of years, the library has been gathering input from the community to help us create our 5-year plan. We've done this through surveys, through meetings with our friends and library board, really through our personal interactions with our patrons every day. And then finally with the town hall that we had back in July, where we had around 50 residents come out and share their thoughts and ideas for the future of the library. We wanted to discover new services we could possibly provide over the next 5 years, as well as kind of evaluate current services to better assess how to allocate our resources. On the survey, we asked 2 specific questions, one related to the library materials that we provide, the other related to the use of the library facility. So what we found out was that 50%, and in some cases higher, of respondents indicated with the highest value of 5 that they continue to want both physical materials, which means the print book and audiobook and other materials, as well as the downloadable e-resources, e-books. The library, we circulate around 350,000 items annually. So just from that, we know that the residents of Friendswood still like to hold a book in their hands to read, but also have an interest in the downloadable ebooks as well. So we want to continue to provide both. Similar finding in terms of use of the library facility, with 50% roughly indicating with the highest value of 5 that they want to see the library continue to provide quiet study space, research space, as well as the larger rooms for meetings, gatherings, community events, and then all the many programs the library provides. If you come into the library on any given day, you'll see that all of our rooms are in use and often with people sitting at tables, signing up, waiting to get into those rooms. So very well used spaces. In terms of services and programs, I will just quickly go through some areas we've identified for future growth. We want to continue enhancing partnerships with other area library systems, our local schools and colleges, local community organizations and businesses, as well as mental health professionals for more youth programs, anxiety, school readiness, and those kinds of things. The provision of additional electronic resources for homework assistance, finance and business, science and recreational activities, additional patron training in the use of these electronic databases for education and business needs, enhanced literacy programs, book clubs, and reading challenges for all ages, and to provide more science and technology experiences. The library has always considered ourselves a partner with the local schools, and one of the goals and missions of the school system has been the STEAM initiative, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. We want to continue partnering, being a supplement to those schools, a place where they can come and continue learning about those things. So that is a goal that we want to continue enhancing in the library. So the final slide here, library spaces. So in mentioning our efforts in STEAM, the library has continued to add new technologies to library services. Some of these include 3D printing, poster printing, robotics, and STEAM activity equipment, t-shirt design and creation, audio and video creation. We offer rooms and computers and cameras for Zoom meetings, which is becoming increasingly needed and popular, among some other library technologies. What would be beneficial, we do not have a designated space to house this equipment and also to use it to provide training on these library technologies to our patrons. So this is something we want to continue to plan and look into getting to that point. I mentioned the high demand for the study spaces we currently have. An additional group study space for students and small group needs would also be very beneficial for the library. So we'll continue to research and plan for these needed spaces over the course of the long-range plan. I did want to shout out to our friends of the library. They do such a wonderful job in fundraising and promotion of the library. Through a partnership with the Friends of the Library, we were recently able to accomplish a small renovation project where we had 3 walls removed that really weren't serving any great function for the library, but it added roughly 300 square feet of additional space. So we were happy to have them partner with us to achieve that. So we look forward to working with our library partners to achieve these needed spaces over the coming years. Thank you for giving me the time to share this with you. And
Thanks, Matt. Any questions?
Good
A
job.
motion is second.
Yeah, motion in a second. I just wanted to know, what is the expandability of the library over there? Do you have any areas maybe go up but out? I don't know.
At
just
this
a question. I don't
yeah,
know.
no, good question. At this point, we don't have any hard data right now, but that is kind of what we want the focus of the next long-range plan to be, is to start collecting this information to see what our possibilities and options are. You know, with through the Friends, you know, one possibility is kind of carving out space that's already available to us to see what we can do. That could be an option, but we do want to get that hard kind of evidence as to what our options may be.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Thank y'all.
7-0. Thanks, Matt.
Thank y'all.
10B, consider approving the expenditures described in Friendswood Downtown Economic Development Corporation's Resolution number 2023-01, which authorizes change order number 1 with Pfeiffer and Sons Limited and establishes an owner's contingency for the FM 518 illumination project.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Councilmembers Branson and Hank. Any questions, discussions? We approved this a while back, the funding,
Correct.
and without a contingency. I think this just adds a contingency funding to the contract so that if something comes up, it can be taken care of without appropriating more money or
Correct.
doing some of that budget stuff.
Correct. And FDDC voted to approve it as reflected in the resolution in your backup material.
Okay. Questions? All in favor? 7-0. Item 10C, consider approving a contract with Audio Visual Technologies Group, Inc. for an audio-visual solution for the training room at the Public Safety Building through Buy Board.
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Hanks, Councilmember Scott. Any questions on this? All in favor? Bill, I see you sneaking up there. Item 10D, consider awarding the 2023 tank rehabilitation project to CFG Industries LLC, bid 2023-01. I need a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Rocky, Councilmember Branson. Any questions on this? You got enough information on our water tanks? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, thanks, Hill. Thanks, Renee. Proposed resolutions and ordinances. Consider a resolution adopting the City Council's reimbursement policy.
Motion to approve.
Councilmember Hanks, Councilmember Aaronworth. Any questions on that? All in favor? 11B, consider an ordinance amending the city's general budget for fiscal year 2022-2023 by approving Budget Amendment 5.
Second.
You get that, Scott?
Yes, sir.
And Branson?
Yes,
All in favor? All right.
Second.
Councilmember Scott and Branson again, all in favor? Item 13, executive session. We now recess into and conduct an executive session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.087 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the offer of financial or other incentives to a business, to deliberate the purchase of real property, and to seek the advice of the city's attorney on legal matters related thereto. Okay. We'll be back. Okay, item 14, discussion and possible action. Consider an economic development agreement with Tanos Construction and Development LLC.
Motion to approve. Are you finished reading?
I am finished reading.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and by Sally Branson, a second by Trish Hanks. All in favor? One more. Item 14B. Consider authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute an earnest money agreement for the purchase of real property for municipal purposes. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay, did you get those?
Yes, sir.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? 6-1. John Scott opposing.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.